Let's talk about the timing, pacing, and scoring of the test. The first thing that I want you to know is that you get about a minute and a half per question. That's not a lot of time, right? So time management is very, very important, dare I say critical for this test. Here's the second thing that I want to tell you. Every question within a section has equivalent point value. So if I'm in the math section, right? Here's my poorly drawn math section, right? The very first question and the very last question are worth the same amount of points. But does that mean that the very first question and the very last question have the same difficulty level? No. In fact, the first one might be the very hardest and the last one might be the very easiest. So I like to put it this way. Let's say there was a competition where you get a point for every dollar bill that you can find and a point for every rare collectible coin you can find. Where should you invest your time? Well, it's a lot easier to go find dollar bills than it is to find rare collectible coins. So you should spend your time on the easy questions. And a lot of people kind of question this. They're like, well, shouldn't I spend my time on the hard ones so that I get them correct? And to that, I say no. You want to spend your time on the questions that you're most likely to get correct. You have a limited amount of time, so you should spend them on easier questions. What's the practical advice that I'm giving you here? If a question looks hard, skip it. Just skip it. Put a random answer, because there's no penalty for wrong answers. Put a random answer and come back to it later. You want to spend your time working on the questions that you are most likely to get correct. So let's talk about scores. Now, this class is an SAT prep class. It is not a college admissions, recommendation class. I am not a college advisor. You should talk to your own. The scores that you receive on each section, so verbal and quant, will range from 200 to 800. So you get a 200 to 800 score for verbal and 200 to 800 score for math. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to start looking into the schools that you're interested and what scores they require. Because not all schools require perfect scores. And if you get a score that makes you competitive at your dream school, there's no reason, unless someone tells you otherwise, there's no reason to keep studying if you hit the score that you need. I'm going to encourage you to get the highest score that you can, but I would also have a conversation with your college advisor about what your target score is, because it's not a perfect score for everybody. The last thing that I'm going to say is that if you get accommodations in school for extra time, you might need to go through an additional process to get those for the SAT. And that process can be drawn out and long. I'm not an expert in getting those accommodations, but you might have to go visit a medical professional to get diagnosed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm telling you is, if you are interested in getting extended time, you should probably start the process right now.